pretending to be busy day and night. You just want to skip household chores, don't you?
No, that's not it. I'm just working for the sake of this life.
Be quiet. A wife who doesn't do housework is a failure.
My mother-in-law shouts at me as usual, even though I work day and night. She knows that if she raises her voice, I can't retort. Whatever I say, it ends up with her shouting back at me. My mother-in-law doesn't have any consideration for my feelings. Will I continue to live like this for the rest of my life? It's because I work like this that we can't have the current lifestyle. My mind and body are reaching their limit in this suffocating daily life. Seeing me like this, my husband said,
"You can stop being my wife now."
My name is Abby. I am 36 years old. I met my husband Mike through a friend's introduction. I used to work as an ordinary office worker, but I resigned from my job when we got married. Mike works for a major foreign company and earns a good income. We can live comfortably with his income alone. However, I worked part-time at a local supermarket. One day, after several years of marriage, when Mike returned home from being out, he suddenly said something like this.
"Hey, can I tell you something?
Even if I might get scolded." Huh? What's going on?
You suddenly seem serious. Actually, my university friend Sam has invited me to start a business with him. I've always been interested in doing something like that myself.
Starting a business? Oh, now that you mention it. Mike, you've always talked about wanting to start your own company someday, haven't you?
Yeah. At first, it will probably be a struggle with just the two of us, and our income might be tight. But I really want to give it a try.
Mike spoke about his dream with a serious expression in his eyes. As his wife, I could see how brightly he shone when he honestly faced the challenge he wanted to take on. Of course it's okay. My mouth was already moving before I could even think about it.
Is it okay? Really?
Of course. If you have a chance to challenge yourself, you should take it.
But our life may become difficult for a while, and I think it will burden you, Abby.
Don't worry about it. It's just a matter of increasing the shifts at the part-time job.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you for accepting my dream.
And so, the following month, my husband quit his job and started preparing for the new business with his friend. Our lives will change rapidly from now on. I have to support my husband and be positive about this situation. One day, several months after my husband had started his own business, his mother fell down the stairs and was injured, requiring the use of crutches for a while. My husband explained it to me.
Dad passed away 2 years ago, so my mom is living alone at home, right? It seems like it's tough for her to do household chores and take care of herself in this situation.
Yeah, that's true.
So, my mom said she wants to stay with us until she gets recovered.
Does that mean she wants to move into our apartment?
Yeah, but even so, it's difficult to decide all of a sudden.
I can tell that my husband is concerned about me. And that's because he knows that I don't get along with my mother-in-law. That's why he always checks in with me before taking any action. My mother-in-law's behavior has been terrible since the beginning of our marriage. When we first met, she ignored me and only talked to my husband.
I can't believe Mike's partner is just an ordinary girl like this.
I was given such a rude remark. At that time, my husband spoke up and defended me. But my mother-in-law's bullying has continued since then. I haven't told my husband, but she still makes snide comments during phone calls. Sometimes she comes to our house to nitpick. I've thought about talking to my husband about it several times, but he's always tired from work, and I don't want to burden him with my mother-in-law's bad behavior. I should have refused my mother-in-law's offer, but I couldn't bring myself to do it because I didn't want to put my husband in a difficult position. It's okay. My husband was surprised by my answer, as I mustered up the courage to say, "Yeah, let's have your mom come over. I'm worried if something happens, But I'll be fine. I have a part-time job during the day, so we won't be spending the whole day together or anything."
Are you sure it's okay?
Of course. It'll be more reassuring for you that way, right?
Oh, thank you, Abby. Ideally, we should hire a professional caretaker, but my business is still unable, so...
Yes. Ever since he started his business, my husband's income hasn't been stable. It's been struggling to take off and have been fluctuating. His pay for the past few months has been around $2,000 at best. Despite this, he's been working hard every day, including overtime and working on weekends to make his startup successful. I don't want to add any more burden to him outside of his work, especially after seeing him like this. If I were to decline my mother-in-law's offer to live with us, I would just be adding another problem to our plate that we don't need. I wanted to avoid that at all costs. In fact, I've started doing work from home besides my part-time job recently. I had to start another job to make ends meet because we didn't have enough money to cover our living expenses. So we decided to temporarily live with my mother-in-law. Today is the day she is being discharged from the hospital. Since we both have to work, we decided to have her come home alone. As soon as I arrived home from work, the intercom rang. When I opened the front door, my mother-in-law immediately began yelling at me.
"What? You said you were working, and yet you are at home?"
"No, that's not it. I just got back from work."
"Work? It's just a part-time job. Stop talking like you're some full-time employee."
I'm sorry."
"Well, never mind that. Hurry up and bring in the luggage.
And make me some tea too."
"Okay."
Upon arriving, this is what I was met with. My heart was already worn out. However, I couldn't refuse. I reluctantly gave in to my mother-in-law's demands. 3 months have passed since then, and my mother-in-law can now walk on her own. But she shows no signs of returning to her own home. Moreover, she has become comfortable wandering around the house. She enters my room without knocking while I'm working.
"Hey, Abby, why are you playing on a computer when Mike is working overtime?"
"Huh? I'm not playing. This is a job I can do on a computer. It's called telecommuting."
"You're just saying that. You're probably playing games or something. How can you do something like that when your husband is working late at night?"
"That's a misunderstanding. I really am just working."
"Don't talk back. As a daughter-in-law, don't make excuses to your mother-in-law."
My mother-in-law was shouting at me with a demon-like expression, and her irritation or argument was so frustrating. However, I couldn't talk back. If I did, we would both get heated up and probably wouldn't be able to continue this living arrangement. It wouldn't be so bad if it were just me. But my husband is also involved in this life. I couldn't burden my husband, who is already stressed out from work, with any more weight. When my husband came home from work that night, he seemed to have sensed something and looked at my face closely.
Abby? Did something happen?
Huh? Why?
You look really tired. That's why. I'm sorry. Is it because of me?
No, it's okay. But yeah, I'm a little tired.
It's because of my mom, isn't it?
No, it's not just your mother. It's just a lot of things that have piled up and made me a little tired.
It's about time she goes back home. I'll talk to her about it. So please wait a little bit.
Okay, thank you. After waking up the next morning, I found the breakfast had been prepared and the laundry has already been done. Seeing my husband pouring coffee in the kitchen, I realized that he had woken up early and taken care of the household chores. Just then, my mother-in-law saw me in my pajamas and flew into a rage.
Hey Abby, what's going on here? You didn't make Mike cook breakfast for you, did you?
Well, I just woke up and...
Unbelievable! How can you be so lazy? Mike is working so hard for us. Don't you understand that?
I'm sorry. My husband interrupts the conversation.
Come on, Mom, stop it.
Then my mother-in-law pretends to cry.
Mike, why would you say something like that? I'm just saying it for your own good. Mom, don't you understand? Abby is working too. She is supporting us right now. Supporting? But she's just working a part-time job, right? But you, honey, started your own business, which is much more impressive. My business isn't doing well, and we're only able to live like this because Abby is working so hard. It's okay, Mike. I'm your mother. I understand everything. Just focus on your work. Mom.
My mother-in-law doesn't even listen properly to her son and has an attitude that suggests she's not interested in his defense of me. In fact, she doesn't understand what my husband's current situation is. And every time he tries to explain my work to her, she dismisses it. She never acknowledged me. Despite this, we continued to live with her. Even when my husband tried to send her back to her own home, she refuses to leave. In fact, recently, she started crying and throwing tantrums when we tried to get her to go home. I bet Abby is treating me as a nuisance. I never approved of Mike marrying someone like her. You brainwashed my son. Give me back my son. Previously, she had only bullied me when my husband wasn't around. However, recently, she would scream at me regardless of whether he was present or not. No matter how much I tried to talk back, it only made the situation worse. Although my husband would try to intervene when he was there, she never seemed to reflect on her behavior. On this particular day, I was working in my room while waiting for my husband to return. Suddenly, I heard loud footsteps approaching, and my mother-in-law barged in. How long are you going to keep playing around like this? I'm not playing around, though. Are you still trying to make excuses? I won't forgive you for today. And so it began again. She continued to hurl heartless words at me, one after the other. You pretend to be busy all day and night, just so you can shirk your household duties. That's not true. I'm just working to support our livelihood. Be quiet. A wife who doesn't do household chores is a failure. But I do both work and household chores. What's wrong with that? It's useless to lie like that.
If you find this life so difficult, then leave. In the first place, you are not a woman who is suitable to my daughter-in-law.
At that moment, something that had been tightly wound up inside me snapped with a loud noise. Not suitable to be your daughter-in-law? You have no idea that I have gone through all this time. I can't take it anymore. I'll fight back with everything I've got today. With all due respect. As soon as I opened my mouth, a voice came from the hallway.
That's enough.
My husband appeared, his face filled with anger.
Mom, stop it already. How much longer do you plan to tormenting Abby? No, Mike, I'm just doing this for your sake. How is this for my sake? My wife is being harassed by my mother. There is no greater pain than this. Why are you saying such things? How can you defend a failure like her as your wife? Don't make me say it again. I make only $2,000 a month. It's thanks to Abby's work that we can live like this. Mother-in-law shouts in response to those words. But that's a lie. As I thought that the situation wouldn't clear up, my husband approached me with a smile and said, Abby, I'm really sorry. You can stop being my wife now. Mike, let's get a divorce. If you stay with me, you'll be troubled by this person for the rest of your life. What? My husband in front of me is smiling, but he seems somewhat pained. Behind him, the mother-in-law is grinning maliciously. Seeing that, I made up my mind to fight and said to my husband, I'm not getting a divorce. If we get divorced like this, that's what your mother wants. Besides, I love you, Mike. I don't want to break up over something like this. But is that okay? You suffered so much because of my mother. Mike, you have done a lot to try and change the situation. You didn't cause me suffering. It's your mother who did. Abby, thank you. I really love you too. I don't want to be separated from you either. But I don't want to cause you any more pain. I understand, Mike. I know you were kind, so it's okay. When I spoke those words, my husband nodded firmly. Then he turns to face his mother and declares decisively, Mom, I'm done with my half-hearted thoughts. Please, leave this house. Hold on, Mike. I'm sick of it already. Don't interfere with Abby and our happiness anymore. Stop this already. I'm doing this for your sake. I'm telling you it's nuisance. I won't recognize someone who hurts my beloved family as my mother anymore. I'm cutting ties with you from today. What? What is this? It's all your fault, Abby. My mother-in-law pointed at me and glared at me. Even at this point, she was still trying to blame me. I unleashed all of my anger on her for trying to do so. It's my fault? Don't be ridiculous. Do you know how I've been feeling all this time? How it feels to be told I'm not a suitable wife. I've been enduring all of that until today, but it ends here. What's all of a sudden? That's what I want to say. You are always so high and mighty. But who do you think you are? I am never getting a divorce. I'll fight you for the rest of my life if that's what it takes to live with him. I will never let things go your way. Give up and leave this house. How could you say something like that to your mother-in-law? Mike, say something. Mike!
Despite how much the mother-in-law complained, my husband simply gave her a cold stare. After a brief silence, my mother-in-law left the house. Later on, my husband and I moved to a different apartment. And of course, didn't give her address to his mother. Rumor has it that she's been spreading rumors about me to our neighbors ever since. But she hasn't received any sympathy, and her position was only worsened. She is now seen as a mother-in-law who bullied her daughter-in-law and is being kept at a distance by those around her. Even if she encounters difficulties in the future, it's unlikely that anyone will reach out to help her. As for my husband and me, his company has recently stabilized, and his salary has increased significantly over the past few months, finally surpassing his previous income as a salaried worker. I've also stopped working from home and returned to part-time work since the increase in our household income. We will undoubtedly face various challenges in the future, but I'm confident that my husband and I can overcome them together. This incident has given me that confidence. We will continue to work together towards our happiness.